Hello everybody, welcome back to Hinamizawa. We have a little bit of unfinished business this week. We're gonna go see what the other option is. Can you hear it, Shion? I'm going to get started now. Savor Kei-chan's fresh screams to your heart's content. I believe the first one is the one we
I
did not
think
pick.
the top one is all
Yeah.
path.
Yeah.
At that time, I became aware of Keiichi's gaze.
Why does he have multiple gays?
Give it a fucking rest.
Great question. Why does he have multiple gaze? Keiichi's growl resounded from the pits of his stomach. Thank you for the growl. What a delightful sound. It was like he wanted to rip me apart. Awake at last, are we? I lied to you before, you know. About having wanted to give Shion the most miserable death of all, but locking her up because I hadn't thought of a good way yet.
You're
That was a
cutting
lie.
out quite a bit.
Yeah.
Am I?
You're still
Yeah,
kind of
you're still-
roboting, but it's gotten worse since earlier.
Oh, no. That's unfortunate. May, troubleshoot problems with my Wi-Fi real quick. This is all part of the plan, don't worry, guys.
We have a lot of time, I think. Like,
Yeah.
Troubleshooting couldn't identify the problem. Okay, well...
I mean, never
it'll
can.
show up on the VOD, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, you probably sound just fine in the VOD.
Probably. I smiled menacingly as I laid out the huge nails and hammer specially made for the hammer table. For the nail table. Oh my god. I'll kill her, but only after her soul drowns in the screams of the many people who died because of her. Wouldn't that be poetic?
who are you?
Huh? I'm Mion. Mion Sonozaki. Did the fear drive you out of your mind?
No, you're not. There's no way you could be Mion Sonozaki.
My hand stopped dead in its tracks. Kei-chan? Shit. I decided it'd be too late once we reached Shion's cell. So the name guessing game is already over. Oh well, whatever. Bring it on. I'll listen to you. This is your last chance. Oh yeah? Then if I'm not Mion, who am I? Come on, Kei-chan. Guess who I am. Try and save Mion, the girl who fell in love with you. And then, I heard it. I most definitely heard it. Keiichi's mouth trembled as he spoke the words, yet his eyes shone with a strong conviction. And he spoke the truth.
You're Shion, aren't you?
Wow. You're right. You actually won. You're amazing, Kei-chan. A strange feeling fills my chest as I shiver. I had convinced myself there was no way he could guess. But he did, and I couldn't help feeling a bit surprised. This Keiichi had yet again pierced through my disguise.
Famously perceptive Keiichi.
You aren't Mion. Give me back the Mion whom I was with until just now.
Whom?
Whom?
He did say whom.
Yeah, like, it's weird. Why is he in a shopping mall?
This is
well,
where
we'll say
this
is
is
a
taking place this whole
scene.
time.
Oh.
Who are you? Huh? You weren't Mion, right? Huh? Like I said, I'm Mion. Wait, is this supposed to be Keiichi?
I guess? No, that's not it. That wasn't what I meant. You aren't Mion.
Why do you think I'm not the older sister?
I don't know. Just a feeling.
In my mind, memories of the time Keiichi recognized me at the toy store had been revived. Yes. Even back then, Keiichi could tell that I wasn't my sister Shion. I had feigned composure and offered to come back with a straight face, but on the inside I was shook. We were both capable of becoming Mion or Shion, but because I was the real Mion and was only Shion legally on paper, reversing the roles was even more easier for me. I don't think that's correct grammar, but whatever.
More easier.
Our tones of speech, quirks, and even our auras. We had both mastered each other's habits so perfectly, even our own parents weren't able to tell us apart. In fact, wasn't that exceptionally sharp Rena not able to figure out I wasn't her best friend Mion after all, despite being so close? So why? Has this Keiichi actually seen through my disguise twice? Why do you think I'm not the older sister? My ears perked up, eager to hear the answer. Keiichi's reply was a soft murmur, like an insect's whisper, as he gasped for breath in pain. His voice was so quiet, it was nearly inaudible, like mine, but I could almost recognize the words on his lips.
Keiichi ASMR.
Yes. Just a feeling, he says. Wow. Yet again, it was just a feeling. Didn't he say the exact same thing to me that time at the toy store? How nice, how nice. What a splendid answer. You think why my sister of all people fell in love with him? I think Shion would make a good witch.
Probably not.
However, no. Rather, it was exactly because of this. Along with my raving madness, the blood that was simmering in my veins until just now rapidly began to turn chill and coagulate. If I were to describe it, it felt like stagnant, muddy water flowing through a gutter. That's much better than Keiichi's metaphor of frozen yogurt. Even now, it was all so hilarious I could fall over laughing, but I didn't smile. On the contrary, my face was vacant and austere, like a no mask of frigid ice. And then, the darkness seeped into the innermost depths of my mind, and I was already parting with my self-restraint as a human being. I reach out and touch Keiichi's hair, matted with sweat and caked with blood. Keiichi whips his head away at once in disgust, as if he were staving off a housefly, and glares at me defiantly.
Don't touch me, you damn demon. Give her back. Give Mion back. Give me back my best friend, Mion.
Having lost liberty over his whole body, he continued to howl and cry as if he were spewing blood. I was supposed to have sold my soul to the devil and become a demon, but faced with such a bitter rejection, I felt the crumbled remnants of my emotions stir within me. Munch, crunch, munch, crunch, munch, crunch. My throat begins to itch. The crooks of my elbows, my wrists, and every other joint in my body begins to tingle and prickle. I feel irrationally restless. The more the restlessness and irritation piled up, the more the squalling, whimpering person beside me felt bothersome, revolting, so awful I could slaughter him right away. To be frank, until just now, I had no intention of killing Keiichi. I was truly ready to spare at least his life if he guessed the right answer. That was the rule I had decided upon. Okay, I'll admit it. Just like Shion, I had also fallen in love with Keiichi. He was incredibly silly and good-natured, unbelievably warm-hearted and gentle. Talking to him made me feel contented. Besides, I even sympathized with him. Unlike the lot I'd dealt with so far, Keiichi was indeed just a victim, caught up in my selfish revenge drama. Now that my revenge against the Sonozaki family was almost complete, I didn't mind saving him.
But Sadako wasn't a victim. She was clearly a perpetrator.
Yeah, she was the perpetrator. That may sound too
Perpetrated
convenient,
being
but
annoying.
perhaps the human side of me that was fond of Keiichi wanted to save him, in order to seek his forgiveness for my actions. But I've changed my mind. Having witnessed Keiichi gets the right answer before my very eyes, my heart was suffused with a stinging, gaping, overpowering darkness, as if it were freezing over. Why? Why was Shion alone able to meet such a wonderful person? Satoshi-kun could only make a vague distinction between me and Shion. Satoshi-kun abandoned me and ran away. However, this Keiichi trusts Shion. He is defending the Shion who he values as his best friend by seeing through my lies. And as a result, he gave up on me. Detestable, maddening, despicable, enviable, so much that I want to kill them. That's right. The moment he defended Shion, he became one of them. He's equally guilty. You low-life scum. I despise you. I despise you. I despise you. I despise you. I despise you, you fucking piece of shit! Please stop! Don't kill him! K-Chad, get out of here!
He's like nailed down. Get out of here.
Munch, crunch, munch, crunch, munch, crunch. Ah, what a nuisance. Shion's screams coming from the corner of the chamber were enjoyable before, but now they felt unbearably noisy and pissed me off. How about I just get rid of Shion first? I wanted to kill her after she had the most exquisite taste of anguish and terror, but now I could barely suppress the indiscriminate urge to slaughter welling up within me. Keiichi was relentlessly yelling his protest toward me. His throat closed up eventually, and he gasped for breath, hoarsely continuing to demand Mion's return. Kei-chan, this may not be something pleasant to take to the grave with you, but you really seem to want to know, so I'll tell you just one thing. The demon had already been dwelling inside me for a long time. It had been gnawing at my heart, trying to spur me to violence, but I suppressed it with reasoning. The demon calmed down, and I convinced myself that it had disappeared. As it turns out, I was wrong. The demon never left me. It had just been asleep inside me. Yes. When I learned about Satoshi-kun's disappearance, my ailing heart had crammed itself with rage to compensate for the despair. But that was the limit of my insanity. I would never have snapped. Time had healed me, and my memories of Satoshi-kun were neatly wrapped up and pushed into the back of my mind. That demon had awoken again, thanks to a certain small opportunity. What do you think that opportunity was? It really was the smallest of the smallest things. This might be a strange thing to hear from a demon, but you're the reason everything got so messed up. A tear rolled down my cheek. That's right. Back then, if you hadn't given that doll to Mion, none of this would have happened. You probably can't understand. I don't expect you to. But you see, after that, everything began to topple over one by one, like clattering dominoes, and it all got out of hand. It's normal you didn't realize because it was so small, but as the person to knock over the very first one, you were the cause of this tragedy. I wonder how Keiichi's gonna respond to that in this context. Back then, if Keiichi hadn't shown any affection, Shion wouldn't have been overjoyed. She wouldn't have been overjoyed and cheerfully boasted about him to me. And as I was listening to her, I was reminded of Satoshi-kun. Wait.
Oh.
Hold on. Wait, so she did give the doll to Mion in this timeline? Or is she just making shit up at this point? So is the implication that Watanagashi would have happened either way? Anyway, as I was listening to her, I was reminded of Satoshi-kun. I became jealous of her for having someone she loved so close to her. It was a very small jealousy, but it had awoken the demon that was sleeping deep inside of me. After that, I just let the demon take over. The demon fed upon the copious amount of sadness I held for Satoshi-kun, and in return it committed heinous acts that Satoshi-kun himself would never be happy with, all in the name of avenging him. And now, the horrific events that had followed were inviting me to the realm of demons that had no return.
That can't be. Can it?
I'm not surprised you weren't aware. Even so, you are without a doubt the cause of this, Kei-chan. Back then, if you hadn't chosen to give the doll to Mion, we could have arrived at a different future. Seems like that's actually a no. No, that wasn't right. Wouldn't pinpointing Keiichi's small action as the beginning be the height of transferring blame? I was implying such a silly thing had awoken the demon inside me. Even without Keiichi's act, it would have awoken anyway. At the end of the day, it was all my fault. I didn't fight the demon. I allowed it to reside in my soul, and I readily offered it my heart. Keiichi didn't hide his tears. They were pouring down his cheeks. Maybe he was crying in my place, as I was not free to do so, having chosen to become a tearless demon. That is why I must...
I thought you said tier list demon.
No, not tier list demon. We're not making a tier list of my top enemies in the
Top 10
families.
murders in Hinamizawa.
Top 8 Higurashi chapters. I haven't read most of the answer arcs.
Skip this one. First person.
I skipped chapter 4. It was first person.
The answer arcs have omniscient narrators, so I skipped them.
Oh, okay. That is why I must go on as the demon, the tearless demon. There was no room for human emotions or hesitation anymore. And then... munch, crunch, munch, crunch, munch, crunch. Snap. No! Shion's wails rasping like silk tearing apart, along with my screams of ecstasy. The last thing I heard were those everlasting reverberations. Oh?
What?
Did Shion... Did Mion escape or something? Huh? June 1983. A case of serial disappearances occurred in Hinamizawa Village, Shishibone City. Oh wait, sorry, this is the news guy. You want this?
Sure, since I probably won't get to do much today. The suspect is Shion Sonozaki. Allegedly, she abducted, imprisoned, and killed 4 Hinamizawan residents, Oryo Sonozaki, Kichiro Kimiyoshi, Rika Furude, and Sadako Hojo, between June 19th and the 21st. Preliminary investigation into the incident was delayed at the time due to insufficient evidence, but by chance, the case was solved rather abruptly. On the morning of the 22nd, a patrol vehicle stationed outside the Sonozaki mansion heard screams from within, and personnel infiltrated the premises as an emergency measure. The suspect's missing elder sister, Mion Sonozaki, and two of her classmates, Keiichi Maibara and Reina Ryugu, were taken into custody. However, Keiichi Maibara, who had previously been lured into the crime scene, had sustained stab wounds perpetrated by the suspect. He was immediately transferred to an emergency unit, but they were diagnosed as a minor injury. Having been the one with the utmost opportunity to engage in conversation with the suspect until the very end, he will be subject to interrogation once he has recovered from the shock. Furthermore, small text. Furthermore, the apprehended suspect was found collapsed at a place approximately 2 meters away from where Keiichi Maibara was restrained, and sustained scratch wounds on her throat. She was also transferred to an emergency facility, but was pronounced dead at 13:48 on the 22nd.
Well, that's very different.
The official autopsy determines that the immediate cause of death was hemorrhagic shock due to excessive blood loss. Hair, pieces of skin, and blood of the 4 missing people, Oryo Sonozaki, Kishiro Kimiyoshi, Rika Furude, and Sadako Hojo, were recovered from the hidden chamber that was discovered in the outbuilding basement of the Sonozaki family property where they were supposedly killed. It was concluded that the victims were assaulted in that hidden chamber. The victims' bodies were discovered at the bottom of an old well, as per the testimony of the victim, Mion Sonozaki. In addition, investigations continue into any possible connection to the series of mysterious deaths in the recent years, but no evidence of Shion Sonozaki's direct or indirect involvement has been found. There are still many obscurities to the motive behind the incident, and due to extreme non-cooperation from the Sonozaki family and residents of Hinamizawa, a large amount of time will be required to clarify matters on this front. The local police, who are familiar with the region, offer that this may have been an internal lynching incident as punishment for sacrilegious acts carried out against Hinamizawa's religious beliefs. It has been established that the incident is unique and rooted in the regional community beliefs, and a cautious investigation has been ordered by the prefectural police.
This is a good sandwich.
We expected to gain valuable hints from the missing person and the suspect's. We expected to gain valuable hints from the missing person and the suspect's sister, Mion Sonozaki, who was under confinement for the longest time period. But it was observed that she had sustained severe mental trauma from the incident, and her inquiry has been postponed in favor of her psychological and physical recovery. According to her primary care physician, although her condition is fairly serious, there is a strong prospect of recovery, and she is at present undergoing rehabilitation with support from her close friends. Several weeks have passed since then.
I think we're back to,
Oh,
wait, this is Mion now? Okay.
I don't know, you take it back, I guess.
So. Several weeks have passed since then. After that incident, I was rescued by Oishi-san and his team, whom Rena had summoned. I had no other after effects aside from my consciousness that had been wiped white. If I were to have any at all, it would have to be the deep scars that have been left inside my heart. As I was being examined at the hospital, I was subjected to various queries from Oishi-san. I tried to answer him with whatever little I knew, but I had no idea if it met his expectations, and neither did I bear any responsibility to do so. From what I had heard, Shion had already lost too much blood by the time the police had arrived, and she had stopped breathing. They urgently called for an ambulance and took her to the clinic, but there was barely any time for first aid, and she took her last breath. The silver lining was that Mion, who had been captive in her cell, was safe, and taken into custody by the police. Okay, I guess this isn't Mion. Who is this?
I was assuming Keiichi?
Maybe? Up until the moment I lost consciousness, I was afraid that Shion may fly into a rage and murder Mion. But I was just glad we had managed to avoid the worst case scenario. I guess it has to be Keiichi then. Only, when Mion was rescued, she was emaciated and had sustained severe psychological trauma. Apparently, at the time of her rescue, she had been completely unable to respond to the police's questions. Right now, Mion is admitted to a large hospital in the vicinity and undergoing treatment for her psychological and physical injuries. In the beginning, when Rena and I went to visit, her eyes were downcast in desolation and she looked completely worn out. It was a horrible state to be in. But despite it all, as of late, she's on her way to recovery. Finally well enough to show us a few smiles. Of course, we have been careful not to bring up Sadako or Rika-chan, and especially Shion. The police later conducted an on-site investigation at the Sonozaki House's underground storehouse, several days after the incident took place. Particularly, the well inside which Sadako and Rika-chan's bodies were disposed of by Shion was carefully surveyed by the prefectural forensic investigators. There's so many big words, oh my god. And true to Shion's testimony, the girls were discovered. Apparently, sediment had accumulated at the bottom of the well, and hence the discovery had taken several days. Along with Sadako and the other victims, skeletal remains that were several years, even several decades old were found, but it's not like I would know much about that. Even I was once summoned back to that place to assist with the crime scene investigation, but I didn't really help them find anything important. The Sonozaki family in Okinomiya, in other words, Mion and Shion's parents, came home every day, several times, along with many of their followers, to formally apologize. And no matter how much my parents refused, they kept piling up banknotes worth millions of yen as compensation. And once that money had piled up and reached a certain amount, on the same day, there came an envelope with a letter instead. I have no idea what was written in that letter. But my parents had discussed amongst themselves for 2 nights straight, without consulting me, and decided we would move away from Hinamizawa. We don't have our usual Rena here today.
I see, you're moving away, huh? When are you going?
The end of next month. In the end, I guess I wasn't able to stay in Hinamizawa for even 6 months.
It's going to be lonely around here. Even Mii-chan would be sad, you know?
I'm sorry. I don't know if I should talk to Mion about this or not. I feel lost.
Once Rena had heard me say that, she strongly insisted I had to tell her, no matter what.
I'm sure you may feel it's an awful thing to tell her, but I'm sure Mii-chan will be more hurt if you quietly disappear without letting her know. So, how about we go tell her together, okay?
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, I see. So Kei-chan's going away from Hinamizawa, huh? Even though she had heard it from me, Mion whispered those words sadly, but she didn't seem that surprised. Sure, she had mentally prepared herself for this outcome somewhere inside her heart.
Sorry. But you know what? I plan on returning to Hinamizawa someday. I promise.
It's alright. You don't have to force yourself. Even if you come back, there probably isn't anything good for you here.
Mii-chan.
Both Rena and I wanted to say it wasn't so. But after such a tragic incident, what verbal consolation could we offer that would help to Mion, who had suffered a much greater pain than we ever had? And so we just stood there, unable to say anything, just wallowing in silence. Maybe I should just go to Tokyo as well.
Huh?
I heard I'll be discharged from the hospital next week. And there isn't anything much for me around here either. Even if it isn't Tokyo, I would just want it to be somewhere far away, where nobody knows about me, nor Hinamizawa. I'm not really thinking about something convenient like starting over. I'm just exhausted. I just want to throw everything away.
Mion.
Mion had been forced to carry the name of the next head of the Sonozaki family, and the representative of the three great families, all due to a small misunderstanding. Despite feeling uncertain and weary about her unplanned responsibility, she had nevertheless been earnest and given her all to fulfill her duties. But to think, all of that had been concluded in such a manner. It was such a tremendous loss that it's almost a surprise she hasn't completely lost her mind. Who can really blame Mion anymore for making such a faint-hearted remark? And so I wanted to devote even a little bit of my remaining time here for her.
That's right, Mion. You wanna go out somewhere together?
Huh? Where?
You know, like a trip or something. I don't have a lot of time left here, so I thought we should at least recover some good memories. Tokyo's kind of far away, but how about another big city where we could try some good food and do some shopping? Well?
Well, I don't know.
It just sounds wonderful. You should go, Mi-chan, okay?
But... Wait, Rena, aren't you coming with us?
I'll be the third wheel.
After hearing that, even I grow puzzled. Hadn't I suggested all three of us hang out together?
Well, I don't really want to be the third wheel. So you two should go all by yourselves. I'll be looking forward to souvenirs, huh?
I don't know how to say this. What does it want me to say? What is
Squiggly,
this?
squiggly.
Tilde? Boom, tilde. Mion blushes vigorously. I was slow to react because I didn't understand what Rena was getting at. But seeing Mion's face imbued with a color after a long time, my heartbeat grew faster for a moment. No, it wasn't what I implied when I suggested the idea, but depending on the point of view, wouldn't this be an invitation to a date?
I'm probably getting way ahead of myself.
Indeed, after seeing it that way, I was overcome with embarrassment. But there was no way I could go back out after back out after coming this far. God, this was all for Mion's sake. Pull yourself together, Keiichi Maibara.
Well, how about it, Mion? Of course, it'll be after getting permission from the doctor and your parents. Make sure you don't tire yourself out. Think about it, okay?
Okay.
Big thumb.
I gotcha. My thumbs are massive, Keiichi Maibara.
My arms are 3D, Keiichi.
I'll think about it.
I lost my gun,
Okay.
Keiichi. The hospital doesn't let me have it for some reason.
Oh, Mi-chan looks so cute today for a change. I'm so happy, huh?
After that, we spent the day talking about harmless stuff that happened at school or in the neighborhood until it was evening. I felt like Mion had regained some of her spirit and acted a bit like she used to, so I was happy.
Oh?
Hmm?
Host's gone.
Uh-oh. The host power lines have been destroyed.
I'm still here. Am I on the
Host
Twilight
wrapped
Zone?
copper around a rock and threw it at his own power lines.
A host has turned into a robot.
Oh.
Hello? Hold on, I'm gonna exit and rejoin the call. Hello,
Host is
testing 1, 2, 3.
Well, you already
Wow.
sound way clearer.
Okay. I
Incredible.
felt like Mion had regained some of her spirit and acted a bit like she used to, so I was happy. I can't wait for the big reveal to be that it's actually Shion and Mion still died. Woo! Anyway, after a few days, Mion had contacted me to say that she was okay with my plan. After spending a few more days to convince my folks and Mion's parents, we set off on a day's trip to a metropolis that had one of those bullet train stations. Oh, I guess this is a console CG. Whoa, I haven't been here in a while, but it's grown so much. As soon as she stepped out of the station, Mion set eyes upon a scenery sprawling with people and cars. I keep messing up words. She shared her feelings and excitement as she looked on admiringly. From what I heard, unless it's on very important business, Mion rarely gets to leave the village, let alone come out to a big city like this. I'm gonna take a water just to maybe help with that. Because of that, everything she saw looked fresh and fascinating to her, and she pranced around merrily, almost like a child. Hey, Kei-chan, where are we going after this?
Let's see. Judging by your preferences, how about there?
The place I was pointing to, when I had checked out in advance, was a massive, beautifully decorated game arcade that towered over a corner of the station shopping square. No arcade scene,
Ew.
wow.
We sure had one hell of a time, huh?
Wasn't enough money in the budget for an arcade scene. I had so much fun. It's been a long time since I played so many games at once. As I sat down on the bench, Mion was gleefully draining her can of juice with a huge smile. That expression was unlike the gloomy one Mion had worn at the hospital. Next to me was the Mion I knew well. Earlier, we'd had a blast, vowing to conquer all the game consoles in the vicinity, and made quite the ruckus, without caring about the people watching. Mion was enjoying herself playing on consoles she wasn't used to, and had gone on a rampage, laughing out loud, getting worked up, and challenging me to matches. Although, I couldn't help thinking about what-ifs as I was playing with her. About how much fun it would have been if it weren't only just the two of us, but also Rena, Sadako, and Rika-chan as well. I'm sure Mion must have been thinking the same thing, which was also why I outdid myself, making so much noise, trying to battle the loneliness. When I had realized...
Hey, Mia.
What's up, Kei-chan? With faint drops of sweat coating her forehead, Mion turned to face me with a broad smile. Mion's cheerfulness was most likely just her being considerate toward me for having brought her here. If that was so, then I needed to do the same for her.
You told me it was your first time seeing those, but were you serious? You got 2 high scores on your first time playing. You're unbelievable.
That was actually 4, Kei-chan. These games are all about sense, intuition, and having great eyesight. It's all thanks to never neglecting my everyday discipline. More importantly, Kei-chan, shouldn't you be feeling ashamed of having your advantage used against you?
Hey, whoa, hold it right there. Remember how you distracted me by randomly pointing somewhere during air hockey and saying, "Look, what's that? That's against the rules. You're goddamn brutal."
Against the rules.
Winner takes all, losers gotta fall, right? For the time being, it's alright if her well-being is a front. All I hope for is that someday, this becomes real and she recovers her old cheerful self.
Speaking of which, the game arcades changed quite a bit, huh? A little while ago, I would have expected a dim place thinking of cigarettes. I'm surprised I got to see so many people in there with their families.
You're right. I guess hanging out like this once in a while is pretty fun, too. Oh, yeah, what time is it now?
It's around 5 p.m. now, I guess?
Oh, then it's not long before we have dinner, right? Where do you want to go before we leave?
How about fast food, like hamburgers or something?
We can eat them around the traditional American kotatsu. Oh, sounds nice. Before we go, just excuse me for a bit.
Katie, you call these steamed hams despite the fact that they're obviously grilled.
Someone should make a Higurashi version of that. That'd be awesome.
Probably already exists.
I
think it does.
I know there's an Umi Neko one, but I haven't seen any Higurashi one around. Anyway, Mion said that and stood up from the bench. I found it odd for a minute. Then I understood her intention and...
They'll have toilets at the restaurants too, you know?
Instead of a reply, I had empty cans thrown at me. Mion stuck her tongue out at me and left in a hurry. And after I watched her retreating figure, I plopped back down on the bench and looked up at the sky. The sky was pure blue and crystal clear, and it felt amazing. Everything seemed to be glowing, bathed in the brilliant summer sun. It was a good thing we came here. Mion also seemed to show signs of recovery.
Oh yeah. Then I might as well try asking her if she wants to come see me at Tokyo next time.
It would be cheaper if she stayed at our new place there, but I feel like our parents may be concerned for a while. We still needed some more time to go back to how it was.
Then I'll have to look for a place she can stay at. After that...
Why, hello there.
Huh? Oh, hello. What?
I'm gonna... hold on. I'm gonna change the size because these CGs are made for 16:9. There we go. Hey, I'm so sorry, Kei-chan. The line for the toilet was really long. Look, I brought some drinks because I made you wait so long. Which one would you like? My, Kei-chan. Don't tell me you fell asleep. Wow, this is pathetic. It's not very gentlemanly to doze off on a date with a girl you know. Uh-oh. Kei-chan? Seriously, how long are you going to be out? Come on, wake up. Kei-chan? Huh?
Uh-oh. His arm. He's turned into an arm.
No! Bad end.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
What?
that actually does remind me. After we finished the chapter, I was a little curious, so I tried to find a like a playthrough from just like the original version, like in novel mode and everything. And I don't remember if we actually had this, but I feel like we didn't because I feel like I would have stood out. But there was like a credit sequence. That was like the chapter 3 credit sequence where you get to see what happened to everyone afterward. And it actually says how Keiichi died in that. Interestingly.
What?
Do you not remember the big credit sequence in chapter 3?
Oh, I remember that.
Well,
Was that in this one, but we missed it?
I guess so. I guess maybe it got... Maybe there's some, like, spoilers setting on or something? I have no idea. But, regardless. So,
why did Keiichi...
It said
No.
he died of acute heart failure.
Okay. This
So-
happened to him.
So I guess he died of heart failure in this as well. But also that's really weird because there was that whole thing where, like, he survived for fucking 17 years after the fact? What? Anyway, we'll do staff room and then we will move on to chapter 6. This is Ryukishi speaking, I believe. Let me transfer
Are
back
you
and
sure it's
forth.
a good day to start on chapter 6 when we have
No,
less people
probably.
here than usual?
Yeah.
I mean, if we don't do it, we're gonna have a 47-minute session. So
We still have the ACR. It'll take a while.
ACR.
All cast review, I imagine.
That's what
Yeah.
this is. There's no all cast review for this. It's completely replaced.
It's the same. It's fine.
Do you think that murder can be justified depending on the motive? Hi, this is Ryukishi07. I almost said that preemptively. But I guess you said it for me. Thank you,
He was
Ryukishi07.
born in 2007.
Thank you for playing Higurashi When They Cry Kai, Chapter 5, Meakashi. Although I depict many deaths in my work, I often ask myself a question. That question is there such a thing as justifiable murder? In our
You
world...
can tell this was written before Elon Musk was a thing.
If he met Elon Musk, he would say yes. In our
Almost
world,
Herculean
murder is
murder.
prosecuted. In our world, murder is prosecuted, and the degree of punishment varies depending on the motive and circumstances. Having different degrees of punishment means that we are putting value on the dead person's life. Some scenes justify murder in Higurashi. By degrading the life of the victim in those scenes, the player can sympathize with the character more easily. The degree of sympathy would be different from person to person. The people who can sympathize probably felt catharsis, and the people who disagreed with the character might have felt uncomfortable. That's indicated by how opinions were polarized regarding Keiichi's actions in Tatari Garoshi. In Meakashi, there are also a number of murders. But this time, the main character, Shion, tries to earn sympathy for each one of them. How did you feel? How much were you able to sympathize with her? If you couldn't sympathize with her at all, then please berate her as a crazy murderer.
Please.
Pretty please.
I'm asking nicely, please.
If you sympathize with her at all, then please have mercy on her. If you sympathize with her almost entirely, then please have mercy on her. If you completely sympathized with her, then please let us berate both of you as crazy murderers, lol. What about me? Well, that's a secret. I'd like to reverse my question this time. What kind of murderer could you sympathize with if you were to be killed? A murderer who doesn't care about people's lives? That'd be quite a regrettable death. It's extremely sad to be killed in denial of all your values. A murderer who begs for forgiveness and tears? That'd be quite regrettable too. They shouldn't kill you at all if they're begging for your forgiveness. So what kind of murderer could you sympathize with? In the end, sympathy might just be a method for making the story more interesting. If you can sympathize, it's fun. If you can't sympathize, they're just crazy. We cannot put value on human life. It's a sin to even try doing so. A murder is a murder. Nothing more than that. I just hope everybody can live happily together. How does that sound? Would you agree to that? If you wouldn't. Thank you very much for playing Higurashi When They Cry Kai, Chapter 5, Meakashi. I can only bring out this 5th episode thanks to all of your support. Higurashi will only get more intense as it approaches the finale. Nothing would make me happier than if you continued reading the chapters to come. The next chapter will be titled Tsumi The next chapter will be titled
You almost had it.
Tsumi Horoboshi. Really, I'm rather fortunate if you enjoyed yourself even a little. Thank you again for playing. I hope this has brought a little color to your life. 07th expansion, Ryukishi 07. And with that, Meakashi is completed.
Oh, is that really it?
Yep, that's it. I don't think there's an all-cast review, but I can check. Pretty sure there's not, though. Yeah, it's not even there. See? It's just staff room. That's it. That's all,
Bozo.
folks.
See, it wasn't a 47-minute session. It was a 52 minute
yeah,
session.
it was 52 minutes. It's completely different.
Very different. It's a whole different starting number. Leading
Wow.
numbers are way more important.